Joining us now is the first Public Relations Officer, CSP Benjamin Udain, to give us a police account of what transpired today. Thank you so much for being on the news tonight. We do appreciate your time. So let's begin with what transpired today. What was the brief of the men sent to the protest ground, and how did it turn out to be tear gas and allegations of live bullets being used on the day Nigerians are commemorating 5 years of police brutality during the NSAS protests?
Thank you very much. The brief was, there is a court order saying protesters are not to go to certain areas, clearly spelled out in the court order and clearly spelled out in the statement we issued on Saturday. And so for anybody trying to go into these areas, they will be stopped with minimal force. They would be arrested if they actually do go into these areas, and they will be investigated and prosecuted. That was spelled out clearly in our statement. That was the brief. And today, some people indeed marched into these areas, and they were arrested. And we also used minimal force commensurate with the resistance we got. And that was the use of tear gas to disperse the crowd. It worked. No injury, and the protesters were dispersed. And this came after several warnings for them to disperse. So the excuse of, oh, there are people with health concerns does not come up, because they were clearly warned that you need to disperse, you are violating a court order, or else we're going to use tear gas. Now, the issue of live bullets, there was absolutely no use of live bullets. It's very common for people to think that the popping sound, the explosion-like sound they hear when tear gas is fired, is that of live bullets. But I can tell you on good authority that live bullet was not used today.
Okay, great. So these areas that were outlawed or banned, the 3 armed zones, the courts, and
Eagle Square, National Assembly, Force Headquarters, Shehu Shagari Way.
But the protesters, some were arrested and tear gas were used at Transcorp.
Transcorp, yeah.
So the argument is Transcorp was not on that list. How come you dispersed peaceful protests there?
Transcorp,
how do you respond to that?
Transcorp is just like a feeder route into Shehu Shagari Way. So,
but it is not Shehu Shagari Way.
Like I said, they were moving into restricted area. In fact, some of them did move into restricted area. So for other protesters that did not contravene the court order, yes, there was no confrontation. But for these ones, that was the main reason they were actually arrested.
Can you confirm, you've just told us that there were arrests made, like we've heard. Can you confirm to us the numbers of people that were arrested and what next?
So initially in the morning, we had 8 people, including Nnamdi Kanu's brother, Emmanuel Kanu, and Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer, Dr. Barrister Aloy, and 6 others, making 8. But much later, 5 people were added to it, 5 other people were arrested, making a total of 13. So we have 13 people in our custody. Statements have been taken, investigation is being wrapped up as I speak, and first thing tomorrow morning they are going to be prosecuted. We can assure you that they will spend up to 24 hours in our custody.
And these arrests were done where? In one sport or different sports? If you can highlight that for us.
Yes.
Because we also told journalists were among those you arrested today, including international journalists.
This morning, one international journalist was brought to the state, the FCT command headquarters in Abuja, because the arresting officers mistook him for a protester, but he identified himself immediately and he was released. I can confirm that he was released immediately. He identified himself. So I'm answering your question. Yes, some people were arrested around Transcorp after they made their way into Shehu Shagari Way, while others were arrested around Ministry of Finance, also within the restricted area.
We are aware that there were also gatherings of those who were against counter-protesters in some parts of Abuja today, but there was no security presence or tear gassing of those people. Why? What was the reason for that? Was it because they were not part of the outlawed areas? Why did the police not disperse such gatherings?
Number one, there's a court order mentioning where gatherings should not take place. So that was a focus. Like you asked at the beginning, what brief did we give our men?
Yes.
So that was part of it. Number two, we didn't get reports of any of protesters in other parts of Abuja causing traffic gridlock, preventing other Nigerians from moving. If that had come up, definitely we would have responded and made sure that the roads were clear.
Tear gassing, was it necessary? When you say that's the minimal force you could use, was that absolutely necessary?
Standard operation procedures. It's not just Nigeria. World over, police forces have tear gas, and if we give that warning to protesters not to go beyond certain areas, especially in this case as provided for by court order, and they decide to be confrontational, trust me, tear gas is way better, far better than using live bullets. Thankfully, we did not use any live bullet. So yes, if you ask me that if this situation presented itself tomorrow, would we use tear gas? Absolutely, we would, because that's the minimal force we could use in this instance.
I had a lawyer just in that state before you came on, a senior advocate of Nigeria, and one of the questions he brought up in responding to my question was, you had an ex parte judgment. Was it served? Did you serve that to the protesters? I'd like to ask that. And two, just as I let you go, is the force concerned about the perception that when you have anti-government protests, regardless of court orders or not, it usually will end up in police brutality? Is that a concern for the Nigerian police force in the image?
Well, it depends on the protesters. In this same country, we've had protests where everything went absolutely right. We've had protests where the police provided water and cookies to protesters and it went well. So it all depends on the protesters if they choose to be law-abiding or choose to be very unruly. The court order, the statement we issued on Saturday, we made it clear in that statement. We talked about the particular court, we talked about the judge, we talked about the number, the document number. We made everything clear. And this came out on Friday. In fact, on that order, it's also made it clear that the other party should be in court this morning by 9 a.m. So we hid nothing. We made everything clear. And we also made it clear to Nigerians that we're going to enforce that order.
A good place to leave it. Thank you so much for telling us the side of your story today. The spokesperson of the Nigeria Police Force, Benjamin Udai, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.